Bringing a motorcycle home is a big moment for all of us. So I don't like it when the arrival of more options on the market becomes a game of nuance and splitting hair. The N160, the Pulsar 150, is like trying to choose between two flavors of ice cream. Fortunate for us then that we do have a clear favorite. In our previous video on these two motorcycles, we said riding these Pulsars, which are excellent in general, seems to raise larger questions for us. Today, we're here to find the answer to a simple, direct question. Which of these two should you bring home? Bajaj has 4 150cc class motorcycles on sale today. The two newest ones, the N160 and the Pulsar 150. Solid options in a crowded segment? Yes. But here's the answer you're looking for. The one to get is the Pulsar 150. It's the best Pulsar in the recent years. The base model is the right one. It's the more cohesive of the two. It feels natural to ride, and of course, it's cheaper. But you can't have one with dual channel ABS. But do you really want the N160? Because the TVS Apache RTR 160 4V, despite its enormous name, makes a slightly better buy. N and P are only separated by the big O in the alphabet. But when you take that and apply that to the Pulsars, the differences are even smaller. These two have nearly identical hardware, and since they don't connect to anything, there's no software to speak of. The N is more powerful, it has faster acceleration and all of that, but in the real world, the difference that makes is only marginally more useful. Similarly, the P has only slightly more economy, so it's marginally more useful again. So these, it's not a factor. And they're both excellent at what they do, city riding. The slight difference? The N, it's light on its feet and it flicks more than it changes direction, and it generally feels a little sportier. But most riders, I think, will prefer the crisp and neutral P. How the P edges ahead is interesting. It's almost stealthy. The largest differences are in comfort, the quality of suspension, and engine refinement. Not major differences, but both certain to make a difference to your life in the city every day. The N has better suspension equipment, but the tune of the rear shock is too stiff. It keeps revealing bumps that the front has hidden so well. As annoying then as a phone that keeps going off in the classroom. The P, it's a very comfortable bike, but without the quality of the N suspension. It's also better balanced front to rear, and therefore it's usually more pleasant in more situations. It's a small margin, but there's a clear winner. The engines are closely matched too. The N is larger, more powerful, also heavier. The foot pegs, they'll start vibrating at 7,500 RPM. Then the tank joins in, and then the bar has buzz as well. So this is faster flat out, but it is buzzy at the top. The P, it's never far enough behind for the N rider's ego to start swelling. And that will also hold on to its refinement almost literally all the way to the red line. So it is easier to overtake things on the highway on the N, but I'd just rather be riding the P. But in the city, pick one. They're both super smooth, super refined, dead easy to ride, and convenient. Do you know how small the margins are? At one point, making a mental note during the test, I completely failed to identify which of these two I was on, until I noticed the red stickers on Kartikeya's bike, at which point I concluded inescapably that I must have been riding the P. Smaller margins then than the tiniest violin that's ever been played, just for you. This is, of course, the fault of that thing we do to increase the attraction of a customer to a product and improve its function. And not just to make things cheaper and easier for a factory to produce. Yeah, design. That bikini fairing, it reminds me of the Discover. The N, it reminds me of the other N. Clearly, customers do not ever want that their vehicles signal their status. Identity? Oh, it's only good for stealing, right? I've always questioned Bajaj's approach to how they differentiate products within their brand, which seems to amount mostly to stickers and tire sizes. Add the similarity of this over an average design, it feels almost self-indulgent. But this isn't unusual for Bajaj. I can never identify which Discover or Dominar just passed me by on the street. It was the same for the original 150 and the 182, so clearly I haven't learned anything in the intervening 22 years. There is a silver lining though. These new Pulsars are amongst the most robust Bajaj products I've seen recently. And given how quickly Bajaj's products age, this is an important and meaningful change. At this point, I'm just thankful that there is a price difference. It's 11,000 rupees between these two. That's 4,500 odd kilometers of petrol in this segment. There's also a P version higher than this. It's 3,000 bucks more. You get a lower handlebar, split seats, and the foot pegs are set further back. I prefer the base P in every single situation we tested the two in. The slightly sportier nature of the N, it isn't bold enough to sway me, sadly. So the P is the one I should suggest to you. Two final things I'd like to leave you with. First, are these Pulsars? That youthful, enthusiast-first brand has become softer and sort of middle-aged. You can see the maturity of the engineering and the overall competence of these motorcycles. But the spark of the original, it's weak. Second, if you do decide for the N, take a moment. Because the P, it will give a solid fight to the 2-valve RTR 160. But the N makes a weaker case against the 4-valve RTR 160. Because the TVS has the same prices, similar economy, better equipment, and a better developed sense of excitement. I don't know about you, but excitement, joy, the feeling of being thrilled is why I ride motorcycles. And that's the question that we didn't ask in our previous video about the Pulsars. How little excitement can a Pulsar afford to bring to the table? Leave us your thoughts in the comments. We are loving the amazing comment streams on Motorinc, and we're inviting you now to make our day.